somehow me going to talk to him about something is going to be a wake-up call.
When the news first broke that Marsau Scott had officially been taken into custody, the entire Love and Marriage Huntsville fanbase went silent. It wasn't the kind of silence that comes from shock alone. It was the kind of stillness that happens when a story you followed for years suddenly reaches the breaking point you always feared was coming, but never expected to actually see. People couldn't take their eyes off their screens. Social media exploded. Clips from the courtroom circulated within minutes, and everyone had the same reaction. LaTisha really did it. She finally won. But this victory...
I think she's my favorite on the show. Go find her then. Shit, where Tisha at? Tisha getting pampered. Yesterday was her birthday.
Let me check my goddamn
Right. Because I know I got a private investigator following her little cheating ass. So I'm gonna find out because you know she wanna. Tisha ain't the kind of person that be sitting there taking that shit. She wanna just get back. She wanna cheat back. So I gotta watch her.
It didn't start with lawyers or judges or frozen bank accounts. It started with a woman who spent years standing next to a man she believed would protect her. A woman who built a family, a business, and a life with someone she trusted more than anyone else. A woman who kept giving chances, even when her heart was breaking.
I mentioned depression, and people are talking about, oh my God, it's a big problem running rampant. And here's the reason why it's running rampant, right? It's because we don't know what it really is.
Hoping things would get better, not worse. And yet, here we are. The story that began as a marriage built on love and ambition ended in handcuffs and betrayal so deep it shook an entire franchise. But here's the part everyone needs to understand. This wasn't overnight. It didn't fall apart in one argument or one mistake. It was a slow burn, hidden behind smiles, rehearsed explanations, and a marriage that had been painted as stronger than the rumors. And while the world saw a confident couple shaping a business empire, behind closed doors, LaTisha was watching pieces of her life crumble while pretending everything was fine.
I started having people come to me. It was like, well, we've been offered money to come on the show and said we slept with your husband. I was like, oh my God. Like, this
Are you serious?
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, this is crazy. Like, people are really offering you money to come on this show and lie. So at that point, I was like, forget it. It's a lie. Like, now I don't believe.
Because before the courtroom drama, before the investigators stepped in, before the fans started questioning everything, there was just a wife who kept noticing things that didn't make sense. Numbers that didn't add up. Meetings she wasn't included in. Deals she hadn't heard about. A partner who suddenly became hard to reach, even while sitting right beside her. And the heartbreaking part? She convinced herself it was nothing, that she was overthinking, that business was stressful.
The part of the harassing communications was you sending the picture.
No.
Right.
No, it wasn't.
Okay, that's the question I gotta ask. The question is, how do you feel about that? That makes me lose respect for Marcella.
If it was true.
If it was true, yeah. I didn't
So
say
now
it was
that
true.
he's saying
I
it
assumed it was true.
So
You assumed it
now
was?
that he's saying that it's not true, how do you feel about it?
I don't know if I can believe Marcella.
That marriages go through rough seasons. She defended him publicly and privately, not because she was blind, but because she believed loyalty could fix anything. But what nobody expected was how far Marsau was willing to go behind the scenes. For years, Marsau and LaTisha had been marketed as a powerhouse couple. They worked together, built businesses together, and raised a family while growing in the spotlight. They knew people watched everything they did. They knew rumors would always follow them. And yet, even with cameras rolling, even with interviews, public appearances, and family trying to hold them together, Marsau was running an entirely different life in the background, one that LaTisha didn't know about. One that would eventually blow up in the most dramatic, devastating way possible. Because long before handcuffs closed around his wrists, long before he stood in front of a judge trying to explain contracts, accounts, and signatures that made no sense, the foundation of this empire was already cracking. And the truth? It all started with money. Money that moved where it shouldn't have. Money that disappeared before anyone could question it. Money that was supposed to be for the business, but somehow never made its way back. But here's the twist. It wasn't just missing money. It wasn't just sloppy bookkeeping or a few bad choices. It was strategic. It was intentional. And it placed LaTisha right in the middle of legal danger she didn't even know she was in. And when the truth came out, when investigators connected the pieces, when documents showed signatures she never wrote and deals she never approved, everything shifted. The woman who once stood beside him now stood against him, not out of revenge, not out of anger, but out of survival. Confusing tax documents, accounts with her name on them that she never touched, LLCs that existed only on paper, until investigators figured out what they were really used for. Bit by bit, the life she thought she understood became a puzzle with pieces she didn't recognize. And just when she thought she had seen the worst of it, someone unexpected stepped forward with information that changed everything. Marsau's own circle. Because sometimes the people closest to you become the ones who finally tell the truth. And that's where things took a turn so messy, so explosive, that even longtime fans were stunned. People who had defended Marsau started backing away. People who had doubted LaTisha started apologizing, and people who once said she'll never leave him were suddenly saying she deserved better all along. But the real turning point came when the investigators stepped in. What they found wasn't just questionable, it wasn't just inconsistent, it wasn't just concerning. It was the kind of evidence that forces a judge to act immediately. Fraud, false filings, hidden funds, business loans that didn't match business expenses, contracts with signatures that didn't belong to the person whose name was listed, emails discussing money going into places nobody could trace until forensic experts pulled digital records that told a different story. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This wasn't a miscommunication. This wasn't a marriage dispute. This was a federal-level problem. And it wasn't LaTisha who brought the final blow. It was the investigators, backed by witnesses who knew way more than anyone expected. By the time Marsau walked into court, fans wondered if he even understood how serious this had become. Some people said he looked confident, others said he looked annoyed. But the one thing everyone noticed was how calm LaTisha looked. Not angry, not emotional, not vengeful, just done. She had spent years trying to hold everything together while he acted like nothing would ever catch up to him. And now, reality had arrived. Witness after witness stepped forward. Documents were reviewed, authenticated, verified. Recordings were played, messages were shown, accounts were analyzed. Every piece of evidence pointed in the same direction, and not a single one pointed to LaTisha doing anything wrong. And then, in the middle of the courtroom, after hours of testimony and piles of documents stacked on the judge's desk, it finally happened. The ruling. Not delayed, not postponed, not will reconvene next month. Immediate. Marsau Scott was taken into custody. The courtroom was so quiet that you could hear people gasping. Someone whispered, "Wow," under their breath. Another person covered their mouth. Reporters started typing faster, fans watching online lost their minds. But LaTisha? She simply closed her eyes, took a breath, and walked out. No victory dance, no celebration, no dramatic speech, just relief. She spent years believing in love. She spent years trusting a man who told her she was his partner in life and business. She spent years defending someone who never defended her when it mattered most. And yet, when everything fell apart, she stood there with dignity. Not because she wasn't hurting, not because she wasn't angry, not because she didn't feel betrayed, but because she finally understood her own strength. This win wasn't about money. It wasn't about court. It wasn't even about clearing her name. It was about reclaiming herself. For the first time in a long time, she was no longer fighting to be heard. She didn't have to prove anything. She didn't have to beg for clarity. She didn't have to pretend things were fine. The truth had spoken for her, and the world finally saw what she had been enduring behind the scenes. Now the question everyone is asking is simple: what happens next? For Marsau, the future looks nothing like the life he built. Investigations are still ongoing. Charges could stack. More witnesses might come forward. More information could surface. And prison is no longer a rumor. It's a real possibility. But for LaTisha, she's stepping into a chapter she should have stepped into a long time ago. A chapter where she isn't overshadowed, where she isn't doubted, where she isn't silent, where she isn't carrying someone else's mistakes. A chapter where she finally chooses herself. Years from now, when people look back on this story, they won't remember the handcuffs or the courtroom first. They won't remember the headlines or the drama. They'll remember the moment when a woman who had been underestimated for years finally stood her ground and refused to be dragged down with someone else's downfall. And that's why this win is bigger than paperwork, bigger than the judge's ruling, bigger than the scandal. It's the kind of win that changes everything. So now I want to hear from you watching at home. Do you think Marsau ever believed this day would come? Or did he think LaTisha would stand behind him forever, no matter what he did? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you want deeper breakdowns on stories like this, the betrayals, the secrets, the reunions, and the downfalls, make sure you subscribe. Because when the drama hits this hard, you already know Celebs Nature is here to spill every drop.